7 months of the Great War. People dead from wickedness. This is the prophecy of Nostradamus, who predicted the meteoric rise of Hitler, the horrors of World War II, the tragic assassination of John F. Kennedy, and even the devastating atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's said that about 2/3 of Nostradamus's prophecies have already come to pass, yet it's the unfulfilled third of his prophecies that casts the longest shadow, foreshadowing calamities of earthquakes, famine, and wars potent enough to threaten humanity's very existence. We find ourselves in the year when time might reveal the final act of Nostradamus's prophecies. Consider his cryptic words that many believe foretold Hitler's rise. From the depths of the west of Europe, a young child will be born of poor people, he who by his tongue will seduce a great troop. Here, scholars find allusions to Hitler's origins and his formidable oratory that swayed multitudes. The year 2022, as per Nostradamus, was marred by dark omens, inflation, starvation, and the looming threat of an asteroid strike. With the COVID-19 pandemic wreaking havoc on global economies and the surge in gas prices and inflation, one could argue that these predictions found some semblance of reality. For 2023, Nostradamus's predictions are pretty alarming. He talks about a great war that will change everything. The prophecy says something like 7 months of the Great War, people dead from wickedness. With what's happening in Ukraine and no end in sight, this could mean something as big as World War III might kick off in 2023. Nostradamus talked about 3 antichrists, who aren't exactly like the biblical ones, but more like really bad leaders who will start huge wars and cause lots of deaths. Napoleon and Hitler are often thought of as the first two. Now, with the Ukraine situation and all this talk about nuclear war, people are wondering if we're about to see the third one. If what Nostradamus said is true, we might be just about to meet this next Antichrist. He predicted a massive global war, and some experts who study Nostradamus think this could happen in 2023 or the next few years. Besides war, Nostradamus also sees financial trouble, political messes, poverty, a new pope causing problems for the church, and lots of social and immigration issues in 2023. Enter Craig Hamilton Parker, another psychic known for his accurate predictions. Hamilton Parker is no stranger to the world of prophecies. With a track record that includes predicting the death of Queen Elizabeth II, the outcome of the Brexit referendum, and even the arrival of Donald Trump as President of the United States, his words carry a certain weight. Now let's dive into his prediction about World War III. According to Hamilton Parker, the year 2023 is not just another year. It is the year when the world could witness the beginning of a devastating war, a conflict so vast it earns the grim title of World War III. What could possibly trigger such a catastrophic event? Hamilton Parker points to Taiwan, an island with a tense relationship with China, as the epicenter of the conflict. He foresees a collision between aircraft or submarines in Taiwanese waters being the spark that sets the world ablaze. This is not a prediction to be taken lightly. After all, this is the same man who foresaw the Brexit outcome and the Trump presidency. His words echo with a chilling accuracy that makes the thought of World War III all the more terrifying. But what could possibly lead to such a catastrophic event? Now, let's delve into the potential triggers of this prophesied war. We've heard the ominous prophecies, but what could possibly set off such a catastrophic event? A multitude of triggers could theoretically ignite a third world war. One of the most apparent sources of tension is territorial disputes. These have been a constant throughout history, leading to conflict time and time again. As we speak, conflicts are brewing in many parts of the world, such as the South China Sea, Kashmir, and Taiwan, to name a few. A mere spark in these tinderboxes could potentially set off a chain reaction leading to a global conflict. Economic crises too have often paved the way for wars. When prosperity dwindles, nations often resort to drastic measures. With many economies teetering on the brink, due to the lingering effects of the pandemic and other factors, the stage could be set for a major showdown. And then, there's the elephant in the room: climate change. As resources become scarcer and the struggle to control these resources intensifies, the possibility of conflict becomes ever more likely. The fight for water, arable land, and other resources could potentially spiral into a full-blown war. That said, It's also worth considering the role of political leadership and decision-making. The actions and decisions of world leaders can have far-reaching effects, potentially pushing nations towards conflict or steering them towards peace. However, it's important to bear in mind that these are just potential triggers. They may seem alarming, but it doesn't mean that World War III is a foregone conclusion. The future isn't set in stone, and the course of history can be changed. While these predictions are alarming, it's crucial to remember that they are, after all, just predictions. But what if these predictions come true? What could be the aftermath of such a war? Let's delve into the possible repercussions of a third world war. The most immediate and palpable consequence would be the unimaginable loss of human life. War, in all its horror, indiscriminately takes away sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, leaving behind a trail of grief and loss that spans generations. But the impact of world war extends far beyond the battlefield. One can't overlook the potential for a global economic collapse. The financial systems that we rely upon could crumble under the weight of war, leading to a worldwide recession or even a depression. Unemployment, poverty, and desperation could become the norm as nations divert resources to fuel the war machine at the cost of their citizens' well-being. Further, the world as we know it could change drastically. The geopolitical landscape might shift, altering the world order. Nations that were once considered superpowers could find themselves dethroned, while others rise from the ashes. This change in power dynamics could lead to a reconfiguration of alliances and enmities, causing ripples that could last for decades or even centuries. Additionally, the environmental effects of such a war could be catastrophic. With the potential use of nuclear weapons, we could witness an ecological disaster that would not only affect our generation but also those yet to come. The fallout of nuclear warfare could lead to the destruction of our planet's biodiversity and even possibly a nuclear winter with chilling effects on global climate. The cultural and social impacts too would be profound. We could see a transformation in societal norms and values, a loss of cultural heritage, and an exacerbation of social inequalities. War has the power to reshape our identities, forcing us to confront the darkest aspects of our humanity. The consequences of a global war are undoubtedly dire, but they serve as a stark reminder of the need for peace and unity. Despite these grim predictions, the future is not set in stone. You see, we often think of world events like these as inevitable, as if they're controlled by some unseen force or predestined path. But that's not necessarily the case. Every action we take, every decision we make can influence the course of history. Yes, even the seemingly small actions. Let's take advocating for peace, for instance. It might sound cliché, but peace really does start with us, the individuals. By promoting understanding and respect in our communities, we can create a ripple effect that extends far beyond our immediate surroundings. But it's not just about promoting peace. It's also about understanding the global issues at play. By educating ourselves about the complexities of international relations, the root causes of conflict, we can make informed decisions and discussions.